What I'm going to share with you today might seem really obvious. Actually, I bet some of you guys do it naturally and have never had to really think about it. But if you've never heard of it, or if you don't think of it on your own, it can be an absolute game changer for the quality of your guitar playing. If you guys don't know me, hi, my name's Eric. Welcome to my channel, Minimalist Musician. So this has to do with strumming. Now, when you're taught to strum, one of the first things we learn is which strings you can strum in a given chord. For instance, your root 6 chords, like your G, your E, or your E minor, you can strum all the strings like this. In your root 4 chords, like a C chord, an A minor, or an A chord, you can strum 5 of the strings. You'd exclude the 6th or the one closest to your face. Sounds like this. Then we have our root 4 chords where we're excluding the lowest 2 strings, the E and the A, and we're just strumming the top 4 strings from D down. So for instance, your D chord, your D minor chord, and sometimes your F chord. You're also taught that you can strum down or you can strum up, and then you're taught some basic strumming patterns to get you playing songs as fast as possible. So while that's all really good information, it's important, and I would argue 100% you have to know it if you want to be able to play songs well. You can take that information, you can play songs, they can sound pretty darn good right away. However, we're missing one key piece, and with this piece of information, I think you can take your songs from sounding good to sounding great really quickly. Before I actually tell you and show you what it is, I want you just to listen to these 2 examples. I'm going to play the same chords at the same speed on the same guitar with the same strumming pattern, and I want you to tell me which one of these sounds better to you. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but for me, example number 2 was the clear winner. Not that number 1 had anything wrong with it. It was in tune, it was in time, sounded pretty good. And had I not heard example 2, I wouldn't have even thought anything of it. But once you've heard them back to back and you hear the complexity and the depth of the second one, you just can't unhear it, and all of a sudden the first one just doesn't sound as good in comparison. So let's reveal this big secret. So in example 1, I gave all the strings equal weight in my strumming pattern. Let's just use a G chord as an example because we're hitting all 6 strings and it's really easy to demonstrate. Now in example 2, I used the exact same strumming pattern. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. So a quarter note followed by a bunch of 8th notes to complete the bar. But this time I gave specific strings more importance or more weight. I actually excluded certain strings at times, and it sounds like this. Now all that aside, down strums and up strums are probably not really created equal in the real world. When you strum down, you're likely giving more emphasis to the low strings close to your face because they're the ones you hit first. When you're strumming up, it's the opposite. You're giving more weight to the high strings down towards the floor. Especially on those up strums, even when we're not thinking about separating the guitar, like in this example here, I think really you should probably be aiming to hit just the top 2 or 3 strings. It lets the bottom strings ring out and it gives the guitar a little bit more depth without thinking too hard. Now let's actually dive into this second example and see what was happening. So again, our strumming pattern was down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Let's just break it in half to make it a bit easier. The first half of the pattern, down, down, up. Watch closely. So if you're looking closely enough, you'll notice that on the first down strum, I actually only hit the 6th string. Now, sometimes in strumming patterns, we refer to that as just hitting the bass string. So instead of a D for down, you might see a B for bass. Anytime we see B for bass in a strumming pattern, it indicates just hit the bass note of the string. On your G, E minor, or E chords, root 6, you hit just the 6th string. On root 5 chords, again, like your C, A minor, you're going to hit the 5th string as your bass. And then on the root 4 chords, like your D, D minor, and F, you're going to hit just the 4th string as your bass. If we go back again and look at beats 2 and, where I strummed down up, I wasn't even hitting the low strings, I was just focusing more on the higher strings of the guitar. What that's doing is it's allowing the low bass note to ring out while we get the nice treble frequencies and the rhythm from the higher strings, probably about the top 4 strings ideally. Now the second half of the strumming pattern is all 8th notes, down, up, and here's what it looks like if we look up close. So you'll notice I'm just playing the bass on beat 3 again, or the first note of our second half, but then when I move on to beat 3 and on my up strum, you'll actually notice I'm really only hitting 2 strings. I'm essentially coming up on the G and the D. It's like I'm actually separating the guitar into different string sets, or kind of like 3 parts, low, middle, and high. And when I complete the strumming pattern with the last down up, again, I'm focusing just on the treble strings. So beats 4 and, or down up, are just really focused on the top 4 strings like this. That whole second half sounds like this. And this is our final product. So again, what's really cool is nothing else changed. The rhythm was the same, the chords were the same, the guitar was the same, the speed was the same, and the strumming pattern was the same. All I did was just change where I'm putting emphasis on the strings. You can apply this to literally any strumming pattern, however you see fit, to make the song sound a little bit more alive. If this is totally new to you, I would suggest you take some songs you already know, sit down with them, and see where you can apply this to make it sound a little bit better. Your guitar playing is going to have more finesse and more definition, and it's going to go from good to great really fast. I hope this video was helpful if you didn't already know it, and if you do already know how to do this, maybe it's something you could think about so when you're playing guitar with other people, or maybe you're teaching someone how to play guitar, it's something you can remember to bring up, because I think a lot of us more experienced guitar players just completely gloss over it and forget that other people don't know. Again, as always guys, I can't thank you enough for being here and checking out the videos. I truly appreciate your time and attention in such a noisy world.